Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today, I wanted to talk about why and how it is so tricky to talk to other people who are less aware than we are. Now, it's based on the idea or the phrase that we've heard before, probably. I know I've talked about before, that we don't know what we don't know, which is another way of saying we don't know what we have not experienced yet. We are just not aware of what we have not yet experienced. So, as we start down this journey of releasing our past, of releasing the resistance, of releasing the tension that we hold around our past, our awareness starts to expand. And then we are looking at life, at everything that happens to us from a different perspective than we were before. So, we ourselves have shifted to a different perspective. Now we can see from our new perspective, but we also know we have had that old perspective and we can still remember seeing from that different perspective, but now we see from multiple perspectives. We also know that from our past perspective, our first perspective, that we couldn't see to this perspective that we're at now because we had not experienced it yet. Now, initially, when we talk to someone who is less aware than us, we get frustrated because we want them to understand this new perspective. We want them to be able to see from our new perspective. So we might want them to change. We might be frustrated with them and we really, really want them to change. However, as we release that frustration, we get to the point where we understand, okay, those people are at the perspective perhaps that I used to be at. And I knew when I was there, I could not see the perspective I'm at now because it was something I didn't know. And they don't know it either, so they cannot see it. All we can do at that point is just give them an idea, plant a seed of what they can experience later. But we can't force them to change because we know we were there. We thought we were right too, and that's one of the problems. Everyone thinks they're right at the perspective they're at because they can't see beyond it. You got to do some of this work, do some of this inner work to change your perspective so that then you can see from multiple different perspectives and you can see then that there are multiple different perspectives, but we can't make someone change. I've had an example of this happening just recently, and it's about the painting of a community room. Now, I used to be in the perspective where I had colors that I liked, but I didn't have the deep perspective that I have now where I can feel into colors. So I know particular colors painted in a room feel very different. But prior to that, I did not have that perspective. So there's other people that I'm talking with who have colors they like. And I can totally understand that. But those people cannot feel into the colors, right? So I don't want to come across as arrogant at all. But I know from my current perspective that different colors will feel different to those people even though they're not aware of it yet, right? So I know essentially that particular colors would be better to have this room painted because it would make everyone feel better inside, even though they may not be aware of it. But those people who are aware of it would be aware of it, right? They would feel better consciously, and they would also know that some other bland colors would have a bland feeling inside. They would not feel as good in a room like that. But someone who does not have that awareness of the feeling of colors, all they know is they like a particular color. They see a particular color, they know they like it, but they don't know there's any other perspective to see that or feel that from because they haven't got there yet. So that's when it becomes tricky because we, as people who have a deeper level of awareness, do not want to tell someone else, paint it this color, because we know it's going to be better for you and everyone else who goes into that room because those people cannot see it. They cannot feel it. They're only at their own perspective. So it makes it tricky. And all we can do is work with those feelings that come up inside of us, right? If there's frustration inside of us, we can feel it, we can let it go, and we can get to the place where we can just allow those other people to go through their own path, right? To paint the room whatever they feel is the right way to paint it. And maybe one day they will realize how it feels and maybe decide to paint it a different color. But it's a little tricky for us who know that there is a better way. There is a way that's going to make people feel better, but we can't really push it on someone else. All we can do is plant the seed, explain to them that maybe one day down the road, they will start to feel into colors too. And maybe then they will make a change. So Claudia is joining us today. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Anne.
So we've been talking about how difficult it is to talk to people who have not done the inner work that we've done and so have stayed in the same place. And I think you've experienced that too, haven't you, Claudia?
I have, with one person in particular, yes.
And what was it like at the beginning when you started doing this inner work and you started shifting yourself? What was that like?
I was shifting and I could see that where I was not moving in a good forward situation. It was just not rewarding, not
For you, it was, right? You were shifting.
I was shifting. But the situation I was in a stuck place and I didn't know how to move on with myself, even though that person was not moving on in the same direction or the same way as I was.
Right. So the work you had to do was on that frustration that you felt, right?
Yes.
And what happens when you manage to let go of that frustration and kind of be at peace with whatever
Um,
was shifting.
it is right now very uplifting, and I can see it and I can let it go and I can flow and I can listen so much to what the other person is not just saying but expressing, and the whole communication of being different and trying to accept that.
So all you had to do was shift yourself, correct?
All I had to do is shift myself,
And
and
then everything around you shifted
everything
too.
everything goes with you. Whatever you are doing or saying or thinking, what it just goes with you, and everything around you goes with it, whether it be positive, negative, or just mellow.
So what about other people outside of that one particular person? What about, community members when you meet them outside of the home? What has shifted there?
I'm more relaxed around people because I understand that we're all who we are, and that's okay. We can only be awakened to where we're at. And some people can open to that idea, and some people just stay in a dance, I guess you could call it, that their way's the right way and they can't see past their own thoughts.
Right. And you've been there before too. You were probably like that at some point, but
Oh,
now you've moved beyond it. So you
I
can see both perspectives.
I can, and I still can see where I am, but stubborn, just me being stubborn in something. And now I can look at it and say, why? I mean, there's no reason to be that fixed on something that your way can't work or another thought can be presented.
Nice. So you're flexible.
I feel I'm pretty flexible, a lot more flexible than I was when I started. Yes.
Nice. Nice. Thanks for joining me, Claudia. That was great. I hope all of you understand now why maybe you're more aware and it's harder to talk to someone who is less aware, but maybe you're also less aware and maybe you don't understand when someone is talking to you who is more aware. Maybe now you'll understand why that is tricky for both of you. So thanks for joining me and feel free to join next week. Bye bye.